welcome to Peaches and Power Bombs. I am Sarah Hirsch, and on my other side, we still don't have Tina back, but this young lady here, I've known her online for quite a long time. I'm very proud of all the things that you have accomplished. She has a podcast called Howlin' at the Moon. She does photography. What
I got a lot going on.
And I was gonna say overachiever, but you're super talented. This is my good friend. I call her my sis. Her name is Kianna Moon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's about time we actually did something like this.
Yeah.
I'm happy to finally do it,
Exactly. Yes. I met Kianna during my Twitter days, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't realize she was just barely a teenager. But you carry yourself like an old soul. So but I've pretty much watched you grow up, and I'm so proud of you, like all the things that you've done. And so I just want to tell you that I'm really proud of you, and I hope you continue to do awesome things.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it. And yeah, those Twitter days were something. That was around the time where, for me, like really being active on like the wrestling Twitter side, not as active anymore. Can't really get on wrestling Twitter these days, but
yeah,
it was like tolerable. It was a really good time.
Yeah, I've been off Twitter 6 years already, and I think it was the best thing I've done, because right after that was when the blog opportunity started, and then it was just full speed ahead as far as that goes. So everything happens for a reason. So well, so we'll get into it. Let me turn on this ticker here. And of course, Tina's not on with us tonight. The next show we do, probably next week or so, that's when Tina will be returning, as far as I know. So this is all things WrestleMania. Over the weekend, WrestleMania aired from Dallas, Texas, WrestleMania 38, and it turned out to be quite the show. I thought it was a great show overall, and so I mean, there's highs and lows. Obviously, it's not perfect, but at first I wasn't excited about it. But
yeah, me either. It didn't feel like a WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah,
it was like by the time it came here, I remember like 2 days before, I was like, "Wow, WrestleMania is on Saturday." It was like I completely forgot. And then the entire like WrestleMania week calendar. I think these days it's like a lot more content than it was like when I first started watching wrestling. So it was like a little difficult to like keep up. But thankfully, I was able to react to some of it. Like on my YouTube channel, I did a reaction to Stand and Deliver, a live reaction. That was a great show. But I was like, wow, it is WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I was like you. I was like, oh dang, it's coming up, and but it when it came, like the pre-show came on and everything, I started feeling that WrestleMania energy, and so it wasn't too bad, and so, but I think I had like low expectations. I had been on a Raw break, well, kind of a SmackDown break too, but I kind of kept up with it. But I was just like, let me just take a break and see how I feel after Mania. And I tell you what, night one was the better night, I think. To me, it was, but it really exceeded my expectations. They really put their best foot forward, and but without further ado, we will go over WrestleMania. So, we will talk about the climax of last night's show.
Mhm.
Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar, and he is now the I guess they call him the undisputed champion now.
Yeah, I heard undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I've heard undisputed WWE Universal
Mhm.
Champion, which is the latter part doesn't really like click really well for me. But honestly, I kind of saw it coming, so it was like I think the way it happened at the end, like the end of the match, for me, is kind of like very sudden for me. Like it wasn't like very climatic, if that makes sense,
Mhm.
because you could tell like the crowd was like, "Whoa, like it's over." Like, did it happen like that?
Yeah, I noticed. I did notice that Roman's left shoulder or his bicep
It looked
was
like it had popped, and you could tell it was like
yeah,
swollen, like
yeah, and it
blood
was
pressure.
discolored too. So, and I remember him telling Paul Heyman, "It's out, it's out, it's out." So I guess he knew about it. There's really, as far as I know, there was nothing online about it today, but
Hmm.
you could really tell something happened. But you know, like our tribal chief does, he powered through it and he was able to secure the win.
Exactly. I knew he was gonna win. I was pushing for it, and just to see how far the tribal chief moniker has come, over almost 2 years now, when he made
Yeah.
that comeback and turned heel, and now he's like the loved villain, the villain that everyone loves.
Hmm.
Like for many years, he was like the hated hero, with like
Yeah.
really no fault of his own. Honestly, they were just the company was putting him into a position where honestly, I don't really believe he should have like really been in like trying to push him to be
Yeah.
like this very like I don't want to say generic baby face, but that's kind of like the best way to put it, like a generic baby face. And it didn't really connect with the crowd. I mean, honestly, I was a fan from the beginning. I'm talking
Right.
FCW days, where he was
Hmm.
a heel there too. So he's naturally better as a bad guy than a good guy. And I think
Oh
that he
yeah.
fought through that for years, but he still kept pushing through. He was a trooper, and it led
Hmm.
up to now he's the undisputed champion. I
Right.
think my only question now is that now that the main titles are unified, what's going to happen here? Is he going to appear on both brands? And
I would think so.
yeah,
And I agree with you. He is a natural heel. I think that's just a Gemini trait. He is a
yeah,
true
he's a
Gemini.
Gemini.
Yeah.
That was my next thing.
And if, and I think too, a lot of people, I should have said this last week when Tim was on, but I didn't. I think in a lot of ways, Roman was compared to Seth Rollins and John Moxley a lot. And he was kind of the odd person out because, he started with WWE, FCW and all that. Whereas Mox and Rollins were in the indie circuit and worked their way up. So I felt like, in a way, Roman had to work harder than anybody,
That's
first off.
true.
And then, he had all these doubters and stuff. And WWE's booking certainly did not help him. And I was like, let him turn heel. He's going to do great as a heel. They just let him turn heel and let him work his magic. And thank God they did. It's better late than never.
Yeah, like the timing of it was just like I'm not quite sure like how
I
people
mean,
see it.
he is just whoo.
And that's the thing, though. Roman started around a time where there was this kind of, I like to call it like a tribalism between like indie fans and like the
Yeah.
major promotions, right? Because you saw like a lot of indie wrestlers, go to WWE and they will go through the developmental system,
Mm-hmm.
FCW, and of course, most notably NXT. And now you see NXT going through some kind of revamp or revival now. But
Mm-hmm.
Roman was the homegrown talent, and
Yeah.
you could already tell he was going to be a big star. But
Oh,
there was
yeah.
a lot of pushback because, like, oh, he didn't pay his dues. He didn't go to the indies. He didn't wrestle in like the smaller venues. But I'm thinking, I was like, even if he didn't do that, he's still paying his dues, going through that rigorous training, in
Hmm.
FCW, and going through that developmental period.
Yeah,
So
he was. I
I just
mean,
thought it was like an unfair criticism.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, and he was learning pretty much in front of everybody. Kind of like I would say somebody like Trish Stratus, various others. I got some comments here, so let me get to them right quick. Julian, hey Julian, how you doing? They said that on SmackDown this past Friday. I'm guessing he's saying the undisputed champion, maybe unified champion. There's the other comment.
Unified. Okay.
Unified champion. Okay. Tim Sherry, he was on with us last week. Good to see you. Best Mania in nearly a decade. Yeah, I would go as far to say that.
It was very enjoyable. I
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And we had some pretty good matchups,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that we can like kind of, well, one more point about the
Go
main
ahead.
event. I think now I'm also concerned about what are the next steps for Brock,
Yeah.
because I've been enjoying Brock as like the more, I guess, happy-go-lucky baby face. He was talking on the mic more, and a lot of people, I would read online about people like being stunned about his mic skills. I was like, dude, Brock could always talk on the mic. He just never really spoke on the mic, especially not in wrestling. Now in MMA, he was talking a lot of trash.
Oh wow.
Yeah, when he was in MMA, and I think back at the Ultimate Fighter, when he was like one of the team captains, he was like really like, jaw jacking and talking a lot of smack. So it wasn't, a shocker to me. I just kind of always wish that he did it more. But of course, Paul Heyman, who's excellent, of course.
Oh
But I
yeah.
always wanted like Brock to like talking like certain like heel situations, especially when he first made his return to WWE in 2012. There was like plenty of opportunity for him to like talk. I mean, he did like a little bit, but not as like.
Well, let me do this right quick because when he did talk, he would sound like this. Hold on.
Let's do this!
I had to do it.
That's the thing, though. It's so shocking because when I first saw Brock, that was like around the time when he didn't talk at all, and
Uh-huh.
I didn't really bother to watch interviews of him or whatever. And he barely does interviews, so that didn't help either. So when he first started talking, I was like, "Where did that voice come from? How are you
Yeah.
this giant, but yet you have this? I don't know how to describe it. Kind of light and airy voice. I won't say high pitched because it's not high pitched, but it's not deep either.
Hmm.
It has a unique voice. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we got some more comments. Shane, how you doing? He's a regular on our show. Sarah, I didn't see Mania. Know the results though. I have lost my passion. My dad passed away this week, and I am struggling. Shane, I am so sorry. Oh wow, I am so sorry. This time last year, I lost my dad right after WrestleMania as well. I completely sympathize with you and understand, and I know it's hard. Hang in there, buddy. It
Yeah,
don't get easy. And you know, thoughts, love, and prayers to you. And again, I am so sorry. I know how you feel, and like I have a love hate relationship with April. I really do. All kinds of things. Okay, let's see here. Sammy Turner, hey, how you doing? I told you he was gonna work. Who are you talking about, Sammy? You could be talking about a number of people.
they keep talking about Brock.
Okay, possibly. All right, Julian, how long is WWE going to let Roman hold the title? Hope it's a long time. You and me both.
Ooh, I honestly, that's another thing though. Like, who will be like the next person to like step up and challenge Roman? That's another thing I've been curious about.
Yeah, Tim and I were talking about maybe Drew McIntyre because Drew McIntyre, I think, he was able to beat Brock at WrestleMania. And it took Roman like 3 times. So there's your story right there. But, and we'll get to this in a little bit, you got Cody Rhodes entering in the equation too. We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Oh yes, I have a lot of comments about that. A lot.
Yes, yes. So yeah, well, but yeah, Tim said it was the best Mania in nearly a decade. I agree. We'll talk about some of the matches, definitely some highlights. I was just telling Kianna earlier that to me night one was a lot better. And it exceeded my expectations, and I mean, just from the start to the finish, it was actually very good. And let me go over here right quick, make sure. Um, and unfortunately, Rick Boogs got injured in the very first match. That was another.
That was sad.
Yeah. That match ended suddenly too, and you can tell when it happened. It was pretty wicked. But I enjoyed seeing the Mysterios. I was looking forward to their entrance, and they kind of did like a little tribute to Eddie.
Yeah, Dominic's gear was a tribute to Eddie Guerrero's AAA gear.
Mhm.
And for those of you that don't know, AAA is a major Mexican promotion that Eddie was a part of in the 90s, and he was very popular there.
Yeah. Yeah. Dominic to me, he gets more and more impressive to me. You could tell like he takes this seriously. He puts 110% into his matches. And the team with his dad at WrestleMania, I know that was a big moment for him. I think
That
they
was
did.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And
Yeah. Logan Paul
he
actually
was,
did good too. I
he was
was.
impressive. He was
Mhm.
impressive. I I was like, I'm not sure about this because we have the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, who we'll talk about later. We
Mhm.
had their match last year, and Bad Bunny was very impressive, and you could
Mhm.
tell he took it very seriously. So I
Yeah.
was kind of comparing those two,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest. But Logan held his own, and he was very impressive.
Yes, he was. And he did a little something last year too, didn't he? He was Sami Zayn around SummerSlam Survivor Series or something like that.
I think you refer. I think it was Jake Paul, or I think so. No, no, no. It was Logan. It was Logan.
Okay.
Logan didn't come last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was involved with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I think. That's
I
right.
got you. I got you. I knew it wasn't his first rodeo, so yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him again. Well, one, I think he's cute, but he actually did pretty good. So I was really surprised the Miz turned on him at the end. I thought that
That
was
made me mad. Well, I was a little mad, but then I laughed at the same time. I was like, why would you do that? I guess because it caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting it.
I,
But I think it's going to set up like a little mini feud between The Miz and Logan now. Because I think The
maybe.
Miz is like at this point of Miz's career, like championship wise and storyline wise, he's pretty much done it all. Like he's
Yeah, he
a
really has.
veteran. So I
And you know
think Miz
what?
is like enjoying working with like the celebrities, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
And you know what too? That's something that you could have towards SummerSlam as well.
Mhm.
I could see that. Let's see, we got another comment. Oh, Sammy was talking about Austin. I should have known. We'll talk about him. Don't you worry, Sammy. I got you. Don't
Oh,
you worry.
we're gonna get to that part. I have some things to say
Yeah,
about
we'll
this.
get to that part here in a minute. We're going to talk about matches though. Let's see. And of course, you know, it just got better and better. To me, Becky and Bianca was match of the night for
I was
me.
about to say that. That was a great
Yes.
match. It was tremendous from start to finish. And you can tell that they have great chemistry.
Yes.
Like the beginning, like right off the beginning of the match, where people were like, oh snap, like Becky's gonna repeat what she did to Bianca at SummerSlam. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
and people got panicked over it. And another thing with Bianca winning the title at Mania, it just really goes to show how long term storytelling can be beneficial. Because I remember at SummerSlam where Bianca got pinned in 26 seconds, everybody was pissed.
Yeah.
You know, but I was thinking about like, okay, there's something in the long term coming down the pipeline, and then now we have it.
Yeah.
Bianca was able to kick out of Becky's finisher earlier in the match, and then ultimately she wins the title back.
Mm-hmm. And I think my main gripe with SummerSlam was just it was like a rock bottom. And I mean, I understood what they were trying to do, but I think I would have felt better if she would have did the disarm, because obviously Bianca was, it looked like she was starstruck, it threw her off her game basically. But yeah, this definitely this definitely made up for SummerSlam. It was a treat to see. Bianca is the first woman to win titles back to back at WrestleMania, so
Mhm.
congratulations to her. She's the bestest. EST.
She's
I
amazing.
I love her. I love that entrance. That entrance was awesome.
That's another thing. The entrances, like from top to bottom, from the entrance to like the ending of the matches, it was amazing. But Bianca's entrance was better. I liked hers better. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. They were playing her music, like they were playing with her music with the band and stuff. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I just thought that was awesome. But yeah, and Becky, to me, her facial expressions during the match, like how she's freaking out during the match and stuff, I think that's so underrated. How
That's great.
she panics like
And then she tried to like keep her composure, and then like towards the end of the match, she's losing it. She's like, "How do I
Mhm.
end this?" That's like great storytelling from beginning to
Yeah, that's definitely something that Becky really really improved on. I'm not saying she was terrible before, because she wasn't, but I think um she implemented that more, and I think that helped her out a lot in the matches that she's had since she's come back. She had, like, her match with Liv Morgan. She had one match with Liv Morgan, beat her, and then they had that rematch. Was it a day one? I can't remember.
I think it was day one.
Okay, I think it was too. And Becky, it was like Becky thought that, oh, it ain't gonna be nothing. I beat her the first time, but Liv did her homework, and I mean Becky was panicking during the match, like, I should have put her away by now. Let me get to a couple more comments. Yes. Tina, hey, my girl.
Hi.
She says, love this. Hello, ladies. Good to see you, Tina. Yes, I can't wait till she comes back. She's been going through a lot of health problems lately and just had to focus on that. Julian, how was the Rousey and Flair match? I'll get to that in a second, but hold on. Sammy, Cody saved the show. We'll talk about that too. But yeah, Becky and Bianca was match of the night for me. And then of course, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes was right after. I just, I kept saying it's a work. He's playing everybody, because it was all
Really?
but
I didn't think it was a word. I kind of knew in my gut that he was gonna come back because I just feel like the way, like the timing of it all, and
mm-hmm.
then put it on top of the fact that Cody left WWE. for 6 years. I think 6 or 7 years.
It was 6.
6 years to go and hone his craft, concentrate on his craft, build his craft, and grow it. And of course, I like everyone else thought that he was going to be with AEW for the long haul.
Yeah.
But I guess something in him changed, and then he decided, hey, let me go back to where I started. So I kind of looked at it like that. And so when he came out, I was like, I wasn't surprised. And, you know, he and Seth, that was like the first time, I think that was the first time they ever faced in the singles. But I know when Seth was in the Shield, they feuded because Cody and Goldust were like a tag team, and they were
Yes.
feuding with the Shield at the time. So
Yep.
I think,
Yep.
but this is like the first time they faced off as singles competitors, and it's a great way to like have Cody come back. You know, with this whole American Nightmare persona, I'm glad that WWE made the decision to let him keep it because it fits him so
Yes.
well.
And you know what? That moment where his voice played over the speakers and the crowd went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think that moment was just magic because you know it was surreal. I mean, like like I put up here, the Twilight Zone with Cody Rhodes.
It was like the Twilight Zone because people were like, "Oh, it's a work. I'm a little iffy on it. I don't think this is gonna happen." Yada yada. But he made that jump.
He really
He
did.
did.
And I have to bring this up too. Corey Graves deserves an award for the commentary during that match
Oh
because
yeah, Corey Graves' commentary has
oh my gosh.
improved immensely. He really sold it and promoted it very, very well.
Yes, and you know, because of the shocking moment and everything, Corey Graves was able to put that together. You know, it reminded us, hey, you know, this is Dusty's son. Seth was like under the learning tree of Dusty. He was the first NXT champion because you know Dusty was very instrumental in the early days of NXT,
Mhm.
FCW. So things like that, I was like, yeah. So Corey, as the story was being told in the ring, Corey Graves was just backing it up,
Yeah,
and
and
that
full
really,
circle, full
yeah,
circle. And it was a great match too. I think wrestling wise, they did balance each other out very well.
yes,
And now that Cody's back, I do see him, like we talked about earlier, like potential opponents for Roman now that he's the undisputed champion, United champion, I should say. You know, Cody may be one of those frontliners for that title. So it will
yeah,
be interesting to see like what happens, or maybe he'll like start off feuding with Seth. You know, that can be potentially something they can do to kind of like build up to Cody eventually, assuming that he'll go after Roman's title. They can build him up for that.
right, right. Yeah. Then Cody did an interview after his match, and he was so emotional and everything. He didn't have anything bad to say about AEW, which is good. Now I know he has an open mic tonight on Raw.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Hopefully
all
he'll
ears.
behave. Hopefully he'll behave. But you know, he said that basically his main reason to come back was to win the world championship, win the unified championship. That was the one championship his dad didn't get and gold and his brother didn't get either.
Yeah,
So and I made a post yesterday talking about Cody and him coming back and stuff. And, for Cody to do all this stuff and then come back to WWE, I mean, he's a game changer. And people actually were like, oh my God, he's a sellout. Every guy, it's like just about every wrestler's dream.
how was he a sellout when he started his career in WWE, left and went to other
Uh,
promotions to find himself as a wrestler, and then he ultimately went back to his home base? That doesn't sound
it's
like a sellout to me.
no,
I'm just
and,
saying.
and he had a goal in mind. And I feel like that falls in line. Should he go back to AEW, say, 5 years from now, because he had that clause with Chris Jericho in 2019. If he lost to Chris Jericho, was it at Full Gear? That was in 2019. He would never wrestle for the AEW Championship again. Let's say he wins the Unified Championship, whether he breaks Roman's record-breaking reign or takes it off of somebody else. If he ever went back to AEW, he would have that claim. And that would be a way to kind of reverse that if he wanted to do that. I'm not saying he would, but yeah, so I feel like in a way that story is still continuing because he lost that match and that clause was, in effect. And now his goal in WWE is to get that championship. So,
and there's no clause, there's no anything,
yeah.
It's free range, you can go after it freely.
Because Cody was, Cody had the whole Stardust thing going on, but who knew when he left back in 2016 how he had changed the game? I mean, he was sought after everywhere, and he was making indie appearances. He was in New Japan. He was in Ring of Honor. I mean, he was a hot topic, and
also not to forget, like outside of wrestling, he was doing mainstream appearances still. He was doing TV shows, reality shows. He made a good living for himself outside of WWE.
Yeah.
He basically became his own brand,
if
you think about it. But it also kind of reminds me of when Drew McIntyre left WWE for a couple years, and he was sought out at other promotions like Impact Wrestling, for example. I think he held the main title there. Then he ultimately came back. He didn't go straight to the main roster. He went down to NXT, won NXT title, and stayed. I failed to remember how long Drew was down there before he went back to the main roster. But kind of same thing, leaving the big major promotion, going to find yourself. I think with Drew, it is kind of different because he started on the indie circuit. Cody didn't, but still, it's the same thing, leaving, finding yourself, and then coming back, reinvented and better. So that's kind of what I see with Cody.
I agree. I got another comment coming in. Tina, Corey's references to Legend of Zelda was pretty cool during Cody's entrance. Yeah,
I like that too. And that goes back to like what Sarah said about like Corey's like storytelling. And basically from top to bottom during the match, it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was definitely a banger, an instant classic. And my only gripe with this match, why in the world did Seth have a lace on his gear?
That was the ugliest outfit Seth had ever worn. He had like this big blue false fur coat, and like what Sarah said, I was like, what is this? He is not a fashionista.
No!
It's ugly. It's ugly.
My friend Sherry said that he was wearing Grover from Sesame Street. But the big thing, I didn't notice the lace at first. We were watching the match, and I was talking, and I went,
"He's wearing lace."
Wait a minute, Sherry, is he wearing? He's wearing lace. Sherry, he is wearing lace. What the hell?
This was me a moment to notice it. I was like, this dude is really out here wearing lace in front of 70,000 people. Whoever made his gear.
I tell you what, Becky has turned him around.
Whoever made his gear needs to be fired. I'm sorry. I mean, some of his outfits were tolerable, but this crossed the line for me. This crossed the line.
Yeah, I was just like, somebody on Facebook said that he raided Becky's closet. I was like, oh, yeah, literally.
Never know. Probably stole some of her clothes.
Seth, to me, he's so obnoxious. He's gonna do it, whatever. It's like, okay, we love you, but dude, come on, chill now. chill.
Exactly.
but it was an amazing match. I loved the Cody's entrance, and I think sometimes pictures are worth 1,000 words, and I feel like Cody's entrance right there, him coming up from the ground and stuff, and how he was standing, I think that just said everything to me. It just whoa.
Yeah, I got goosebumps actually because you
Yeah.
could tell he came down the ramp. He was like an entirely different Cody Rhodes from what we knew him as before he left WWE.
Yeah, it was an amazing moment. Other things from night one, Drew was the first person to kick out the end of days. Happy Corbin. Uh, I'm hoping Drew. I'm hoping Drew would be in the running for the championship come now with the fallout, but we'll see with that. Um, because he has also beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and I feel like him and Roman now have that in common. And like I said earlier, there's your story right there. Hey, I beat Brock too. It didn't take me 3 times. It took me
Yeah,
one time.
and going back to their match at Survivor Series, I think it was 2020 or 2021. They had that match at Survivor Series, like still in the Thunderdome. Yeah,
Mhm,
and that match was amazing.
mhm.
So I was like, they need to run it back. They need to do it again. And
Oh
this time
yeah.
with the titles on the line because they were both the world champs at that time. Survivor
Mhm.
Series came around, but now it's
Yeah.
like Roman has all the gold, so it's like it's time to do it again.
Yes. And of course, Stone Cold and Owens closed the show on night one. I think this was a great moment for Kevin Owens. I like the way they did
Ah,
it.
I'm so happy for him because he loves Stone Cold, and I remember seeing a post on Instagram right after night one showing like older pictures of Owens when he was younger with Stone Cold, and then now it's like, oh, he's now main eventing many years later with one of his idols.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
For Stone Cold to come back after all these years and go toe to toe with Kevin Owens, and they literally had a brawl. That's big. I mean, that's a big moment for KO, and he deserves that. I like the way they went about it with the KO show, and it turned into a brawl, and it
Yeah,
was classic Stone Cold, and
I love
every
it.
everybody went home happy. Now the next night, he did come out at the end of Austin Theory, Pat McAfee. We'll talk about that, but whew,
I love Pat. I
I
love
do
Pat.
too.
Pat
Um,
McAfee fan here.
Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair was another good match. I particularly don't care for either. Not saying they're terrible or anything because they're not. I'm just like, ugh. But
I'm the
this was
same
really
way.
good. This
But
was
they
really
did
good.
well. I think this is better than one of their previous encounters. I
Yeah,
think
I
they
think
really
this
well.
is the best one between the two, and I definitely think it's not over with them too. But yeah, that really impressed me as well. Let's see. Okay, night two. We already talked about Bianca winning the women's Raw Women's Championship. Um, we had new women's tag team champions crowned too in Sasha Banks and Naomi. About time.
And I
Team Bad
really,
Days all over again.
I'm very happy for them. Sasha's losing streak at WrestleMania has finally been broken. Thank God. And it's kind of sad that it took almost 6 or 7 WrestleManias for her to finally get a WrestleMania win, but better late than never, right? So I'm happy
Yes.
she finally got
Yes.
it.
This match was good. Just, I mean, you know, it's a hodgepodge of tag teams, but they all work. Sometimes the best teams just get thrown together, and like I said, Sasha and Naomi have that past history teaming as Team Bad. Um, and you had Shayna Baszler and Natty. I like that tag team. I love Shayna Baszler.
I do too. She's amazing.
Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. That's kind of a weird mix, but it works. Um,
It's kind of interesting though because I did read somewhere that Liv wanted to focus predominantly on singles, so I was
mhm.
a little bit surprised that her and Rhea were put together. They fit
Yeah,
together, but they don't because
yeah.
I see them more as single stars, especially Rhea.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm ready to see her dominate singles competition again
Now
for
that
sure.
Bianca's the champ, hint, hint,
Yes.
I want to see Rhea Bianca go at it again in the ring
Ooh,
on the main
yes.
roster.
Yeah. Treat them right this time. Treat them right on the main roster. I mean, they draw money. Come on now.
Hello.
yeah.
And then you
But
have
Queen Selena. I'm a huge fan of Selena Vega. I feel like that's my spirit animal between the Leah references and the video game references and stuff. Um, segue. Speaking speaking of video games, and you might know this, Kiana. Do you think that Omos sounds like Nemesis from Resident Evil?
yes, I agree.
Oh god, that hit me
And now
last.
that you say it, every time I'm gonna look at Omos, every time I see him, I'm gonna remember that reference because he reminds me so much.
Yes, I'm gonna be like stars.
And although I kind of do want to talk about Omos's match briefly, given that due to his big size,
yeah,
his moveset is pretty limited, but he did a good job, portraying like the big, monstrous giant against Bobby Lashley. But Bobby Lashley is a genetic freak in his own right.
mhm.
So I was just waiting on Bobby to do a crazy spot where he picks Omos up. And he did it. And I was just so happy that he did. And then he hit him with not one, but two spears
Oh
to get a win.
wow. Yeah, that match was good. I was very surprised by it. We got some more comments. See y'all later. Bye, Sammy. Talking about Stone Cold bumped on the cement. Yeah, I think everybody had their held their breath for that one.
Yeah, I was like, no, don't do that.
Someone put on YouTube. It was a great fight. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But yeah, like I said, I love Selena Vega. The way they I hate the way the Queen's Crown tournament went. You
I did
know,
not like it at
it,
all.
yeah, it was such
Mm-mm.
a disservice to her and everybody involved. But I'm glad to see that she went with it. She had she got a championship run out of it. So good for her. I'm proud of her.
Yeah,
I,
honestly,
I'm always rooting for her.
honestly, during that tournament, I was pushing for Shayna Baszler to win. The Queen of the Ring. She was one of my picks. But,
yeah,
I think it fits Zelina too. And like
yeah,
you
oh
said,
yeah.
she took it, she ran with it, the whole Queen persona. And I think she and Carmella they balance each other out really well as a team.
They
I would
really
like
do.
them. I would like for them to keep teaming. I hope they don't stop teaming because they lost the titles.
And too, even though this was like a hodgepodge of tag teams, I was glad to see focus put on the women's tag team championships. That it made the card and everything. I was really surprised by that, but I'm glad. I'm glad that happened, and it was some good stuff out of it for sure. So let's see. We'll talk. Edge and AJ Styles was the match I was looking forward to the most.
Yes, 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 yes. I was
Yes,
looking forward to that match since Edge returned to the Royal
yes,
Rumble, and then they had like their little back and forth in the ring. I was like, we need to do a whole match, and we finally got it. Edge is
yes.
the bad guy, AJ is the face. You know, I kind of, I actually, since I follow AJ Styles since TNA days, TNA favorite, TNA legend, I always envisioned AJ as more of a baby face anyway. So I guess with that kind of balance out very well. And then Edge, he's like playing this very sick and twisted heel,
And,
which he's so good at. He's very good at
yeah.
it.
And you know what? Edge has this second chance now, and he's like going all the way with it, and that's good for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they come back again to Atlanta, I'm really hoping to take Alex, my nephew, to see him because he hasn't seen Edge live. So that's definitely one of my goals for him.
Mm. Yeah,
So
and Edge has just been incredible. We're talking some of his classic rivalries. I like to call them classics now.
yeah, they
Randy
are.
Orton, Randy Orton, and of course Roman Reigns. And now we got this good rivalry that he's having with AJ. But I'm very interested to see this alliance between him and Damian Priest.
Yes.
This is what I'm interested in.
Yes. I saw that
It
and I was
fits.
like,
I think it fits personally.
yes. I was like, yes, I am 100% down for this. I love Damian Priest. Oh, God, I love him.
Me too. He's amazing.
Yes. And, they have that same dark, presence and stuff. I think that really works. Kind of like Edge is kind of like a chameleon. He can fit in with anything, really. From the Brood days and all that. So I think we're going to see something like that. So, yeah, Damian Priest was a great choice. I did not expect him last night, even though he wasn't on the card. He made a big impact, and I was
Yeah.
happy for him on that account for
Now I'm
sure.
interested to see like what happens because Damien, for me, like since watching him in NXT, he does have like that dark demeanor as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to his indie days, Ring of Honor fan as well. He was Punisher Martinez, where he had that kind of dark, like
Mm-hmm.
brood type persona, kind of like what Edge is doing now. So
Yeah.
that, for me, that's kind of like why it fits. And you can tell like the way he was carrying himself during that match with AJ Styles and like interfering and whatnot. You can tell like it fits him really well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I want to see like how far it goes. And
And teaming up with somebody like Edge, like that's so good for Damian Priest. I mean, it's a matter of time before he blows up on the main roster. I mean, he's already been United States champion. He had a good run with it. Um, I think this is going to lead to bigger things for him. I was going as far as saying that I think next year he's a very possible contender to win the Royal Rumble and headline WrestleMania. I said it here first.
yes,
Okay.
he did, but I agree, and he does have that look, that it factor that people like to talk about all the time. So, and now that he's working with a Hall of Famer like Edge,
Yeah.
they're just taking him under his wing.
Sitting under that learning tree, girl.
It's
Oh,
only going to help him even more. So
yeah.
that's why I'm really excited about this.
Tina bringing up Selena. Wish there was a backstage segment between Queen Selena and Queen Charmel. That would have been cute. I agree.
That would have been hilarious.
I would have loved it. Missed
Awesome.
opportunity. And they did a missed opportunity with the Iron Sheik. I think it was WrestleMania. It was an early WrestleMania. It was like WrestleMania 7 or something like that. Bobby Heenan made a comment about the Sheik Iron Sheik taking a long time to make it to the ring. He's like, by the time it gets there, it'll be WrestleMania 38. I would have loved to see that.
No, you serious? That would have been so cool.
Yes. I was like, man.
And the Sheik, he's just very outspoken.
Yeah, and I think he's like in a wheelchair now and stuff too, so it probably wasn't, more than likely he probably wouldn't have been able to do it. So it's understandable. Tina says WrestleMania 17. Really? I thought it was an older WrestleMania. Maybe
Had us both fooled, but still,
that would have been awesome though.
Good
foreshadowing. Yeah, that would have been bomb. But let's see, did I miss anything?
Talk about all the crazy stuff that happened. One thing on my mind now, the Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville match. That match
Okay.
was it was it served its purpose. It was funny. I don't think it was like really meant to be taken seriously. But
Yeah.
in those spots, I was just like, okay, this is a little too much. Y'all need to chill
Yeah.
out.
And you know what? I got to give credit to Sami Zayn because, like, I mean, he's a real trooper through all of it. He made it worth watching.
It was so funny. And I remember the vignette that they showed before the match. And it made me reminded me because I follow Sami Zayn on Instagram, which is pretty entertaining in my
Yeah.
opinion, where he was showing all the text messages that he was receiving because Johnny Knoxville had put his phone number,
Oh
on
yeah.
the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously not his phone number, but quotations. But yeah, stuff like that. That was funny. And I don't know. I think the celebrity involvements in like WrestleMania, especially when they take it seriously and actually take the bumps and do the moves, that's what makes it so much better.
And and it's a win-win situation for everybody, even though it kind of comes with, I would say sacrifice, but you know, those like, you know, that and all three, well, both of these guys, Logan Paul and
Johnny
Johnny
Knoxville.
Knoxville. I was going blank there for a minute. Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville, they made multiple appearances on shows to drive the story forward. So, that they put in some effort, so I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
So
That's all that matters to me. Like Bad Bunny, I'll talk about Bad Bunny too. He was on a couple shows.
mhm.
He won the 24/7 title. And then this year he took part in the Royal Rumble and he did really good there too. So I think as long as they're like doing the spots or they're actually contributing and taking it seriously, then it shouldn't really matter. But of course there are fans that just like they're celebrities. They shouldn't be there. Like it's not that
Yeah.
big a deal.
Yeah. I will mention the match for the Raw Tag Team titles. I thought that was a great way to start night two. Um,
And,
it's
and and to introduce Gable Stevenson to the team.
Yes, yes. I enjoyed that a lot. It was you could tell Brandy's having so much fun.
Yes, yes,
I
yes, yes.
love
Finally,
it.
someone said it.
Yeah, it was a great match. I like the way they brought in Gable Stevenson. And that connection with him and Chad Gable, because Chad Gable was an Olympian from 2012, and so already Gable's already going to have those comparisons to him. Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar. I mean, those two weren't Olympians, but they have NCAA backgrounds in wrestling. So
They could have been if they really wanted to. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Especially Brock.
I would really love, like, down the road, if the opportunity is there, I would love to see Gable and Kurt Angle kind of have like a little alliance or team or something, like Kurt be his manager or something. I could see that.
Yeah, and especially since Kurt, even though he was known as this badass Olympian in his WWE days, he was like very entertaining too.
He was
He did
very good in the ring.
he did the stupidest stuff with his character, but it worked.
I'll never forget the rap off between him and John Cena. I'm moving on up like the Jeffersons.
Totally. It's already bad enough. You have John Cena who swears up and down he can rap. Like I love John, but yeah. But Kurt Kurt took it to a whole nother level. I was like, I can't do this. All of those rap battles were just a mess. But Kurt Angles took the top for me because that was so stupid. Like, what are you talking about?
That was the whitest rap battle.
Exactly.
Julian, what about the Pac McAfee versus You mean
Theory.
Austin Theory, not Austin Aries. Who won? Was it a good match? It was a good match. Pat McAfee originally won the match against Austin Theory, pulled off an upset win, and then he baited Vince McMahon to come in the ring. So Vince got in the ring, and it took forever for him to pull off some moves. And then Stone Cold came out and Vince pulled off like the worst stunner ever.
It was the worst. And this is the thing, though. Vince perfectly sold the stunner during the Attitude Era, so he took it before. How are you gonna fail a move that you took before?
Well, he's 76 years old, 77 years old. That tells you you need to stay out of the ring.
Stay your butt out of the ring. It's over.
Tina can't have two Gables. When will Chad go back to Shorty G?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No, we're just gonna have to take Gable Stevenson and Chad Gable. No, we're never gonna do that Shorty G stuff again.
Oh my god.
No.
You know what? Because Vince is like this, they would probably do a feud having the Gable name or something stupid like that. That's such good shit, pal.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I knew that was steering my bad. It's okay, Julian. We forgive you this time. But overall, I think WrestleMania was good. I had a couple WrestleMania fails. Obviously, I wanted to see Finn Balor and Ricochet on the card. It was 2 nights. There's 2 nights of WrestleMania. There was no match on the pre-show. That could have easily went to them or something. That was my only thing about that.
Yeah, and that's shuffling the card a bit. Like
the New Day and Sheamus and Ridge Holland was incredibly short. You could just tell they just threw that in there, and I hate that.
Yeah, if they were going to do that, they should have just put it on the kickoff. Like, my opinion, I think the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and sorry to say this, but Bobby Lashley versus Almost, those 2 matches kind of should have been on the kickoff. And that way they could be for the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title, because those titles should have been defended. And that was my impression. I thought Finn Balor was going to feud with Damian until WrestleMania. I mean, of course, we got this new development with Damian Edge.
Yeah.
But still, like, that was a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I agree. And, like I said, it wasn't perfect, but Raw's just about to come on. We might see something of that. So SummerSlam's going to be the next big show. I think we'll see a lot of seeds planted for this tonight. Excuse me. Kind of like trying to stop my hiccups here. So I'm gonna once I get off here, I'm gonna cut it on to Raw, see what's going on, and I definitely think they planted a lot of seeds this weekend. There might be more seeds planted today. There might be some returns. You never know. Other than that, Triple H did formally retire in the ring to start off night 2. I did forget to mention that. I'm just glad he didn't do a 20-minute promo. That was like the shortest promo he ever did. I was like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, his legacy speaks for itself. And, it is officially the end of an era, between Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and The Undertaker. All 3 are officially retired from in-ring competition.
Yeah, wow.
End of an era.
Yeah, Tina says Balor could help AJ. I agree. And Tina, I will definitely get with you because I think we need to do a video or a show on The Undertaker. If you get a chance to catch the Hall of Fame, I really enjoyed his speech, his little stories.
It was such a beautiful speech. I tried not to get emotional when he was talking about it.
I know. I was sitting there like,
because
I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't
the
cry.
Undertaker, the Undertaker is what got me into wrestling. He was the first
Yeah,
wrestler I ever fell in love with. So for me, it was like really bittersweet. To like,
yeah.
uh, like it was
And,
hard for me to watch like the speech because I was getting so emotional.
yeah, that's somebody I want to see write an autobiography. I would buy it because I know he's got a lot of stories to tell. Julian, have you heard an update on Big E? I haven't seen anything online. Big E is recovering. His neck was fractured, not broken, but he has
Thank
to take
God.
it easy. Best wishes to Big E and obviously Rick Bogues, who, he hurt his knee. Roman looks like he got hurt last night. Best wishes to him. I'm going to miss the game. Always like him. Sorry he's having heart problems. Yes. The retirement he wanted, but, first and foremost, your health matters. That's going to do it for tonight. We probably missed a few things, but I tried to jam everything in.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about, and that's always a
Yeah,
good thing.
and there's a lot happened WrestleMania weekend. I just wanted to focus on WrestleMania. I think it was a great job by WWE, not without some things they could have did better or whatever. But it was a great effort. First WrestleMania, packed WrestleMania since COVID. They kind of had half a crowd last year, so it was good to see a full crowd and everything, and just see some. I was just glad to see some good wrestling.
Yes.
That's what it is about. So, but thank y'all for coming on, leaving comments, like, subscribe, and share. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Follow Kianna, and I'm gonna let her tell you where you can find her at.
Oh, nice. So my YouTube channel is Kianna Moon, and that's in all lowercase letters. My Instagram is at Kianna Laloon. So that's KIANNALALUNE. And I have a podcast on Spotify called Howling at the Moon, which I have been running since last year. So it's been a little over a year since I've done my podcast. And yeah, I got a lot of good things in store, a lot of content coming. So stay tuned.
All right, and I'm glad that you came on and we did a show together. I really enjoyed it. Julian says y'all did a great job, ladies. Rock on, Julian.
Thank you.
And again, I'm Sarah Hirsch, and next time I'll be on, Tina should be back, and who knows what's going to happen? We'll probably have a lot more to talk about. We always do. Until then, y'all have a good night, and thank you. See you later.
Bye. Bye, everyone.